I know Andy Heckers right now. He's doing everything he can. He's drilling them. He's going to figure it out. He's a rookie. The game is a lot different. And these defensive ends aren't like college defensive ends. Not only they're better physically, but mentally they play games with you. So you have to understand that. You have to have a game plan. You just have to go into the game. It's like a boxing match. You change things up too. If you're constantly giving the guy the same thing, he's going to kill you.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Oh, and welcome into 21 questions here on KC Sports Network. I'm Tucker Franklin. Super excited for what we got cooking up for you here today because we got a Chiefs alum, a KCSN alum, and we got everything that you need to know here with Jeff Allen. Jeff, man, how you been? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. I'm enjoying being a father. I'm enjoying being a business owner, and I'm enjoying being a fan of the Chiefs, man. It's been awesome to be along the ride for this run they've been on, the excellence that they've been exuding, even early in the season. I know there's been some hiccups here and there, but I mean, they're champions. They figure out how to win.
And that's been pretty evident ever since, the last few years since Patrick Mahomes got into town, that they just figure out how to win these football games. Before we get really rolling into these questions, so one of your questions is brought to you by Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer. Did you know that 47 children are diagnosed with cancer every single day in the United States alone? At Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer, they're working to make a difference in the fight against childhood cancer. Braden Hopes funds cutting-edge research to find cures that are safer and more targeted treatments for childhood cancers, but they can't do it alone. Join us in the fight against childhood cancer. Your support can bring hope to families and save lives. Visit bradenshope.org to learn more and get involved. Together, we can make a difference. Love what the folks at Braden's Hope stand for and what they do. It's a very good organization that we get to work for. Very fortunate that we get to work work with those people at Braden's Hope. And Jeff, to kind of kick it off here, this one's from Shamus7. Kind of going right into what you were saying. Since you're no longer playing, what is your favorite way to watch games on Sunday?
My favorite, I have a man cave here. That's why I'm recording right now. So you got the jerseys in the background. But on the other side of the camera, I have a pretty cool setup where I have 4 TVs. I got like a big 70-inch, and then I have 3 more 40-inch TVs. I'm a NFL Sunday Ticket subscriber. Thank you, YouTube TV. They're not a sponsor. But I'm able to get it now because I never had DirecTV. And, back then, if you didn't have DirecTV, you couldn't get Sunday Ticket, which was crazy. Right. But I'm able to watch a ton of games. I'm able to sit back, relax, not hurt my body, and it's extremely fun.
I've been in this kick too, so I'm about to move into a new place. So I've been looking at like man cave TV setups, right? Yeah. Just like, how do I want to set this up? What do I need for it? So I think last night even I was laying in bed just scrolling through Reddit and Google Images and whatever I could find, just trying to look at how to orient the TVs to best look for it. I went down a rabbit hole of people putting like 4 TVs together to make one image, and then you can split it up too. So there's a ton of ways to go about it. I think I just like them to all be separate. Like I think I like all the different games.
I recommend keeping them separate. I think having them all on one game and it being 4 different monitors or however many you use, it can get distorted. And it looks kind of weird with the bevel of the TV in between the picture. It's not a good look to me, but do what you want.
No, it's just a lot. I'm in the research phase right now of trying to figure out everything. But yeah, that seems like the best way to watch games anyway. But we'll get into some Chiefs questions here. This one's from Kay Gumminger. He says, "What's worse, losing your home opener versus the Patriots when you're 7.5-point favorites, or losing your home opener versus the Raiders when you're 8.5-point favorites?"
Oh, that's good. Honestly, I would say the Patriots, because it's the home opener. It's the first game of the season. You want to get off to a good start, and when you're a favorite to win opening the season, losing that game, it's tough, mentally to come back from that. And I don't think the Raiders are as bad as, that number would say as far as the Bengals being a favorite. I think they're a little bit more excited about the Bengals now that they played the Chiefs competitively. but the Chiefs didn't play very well in that game. The defense did a good job, but offensively, we didn't do the things we needed to do to be efficient. So the Bengals aren't as good as people I think. I mean, it's the Bengals in my opinion. I got a lot of opinions on the Bengals, but I won't share them right now.
We might get there. We might get the can of worms to the Bengals. But no, I do agree with you. Like the Raiders, at least when you were looking at them on paper, have a more talented roster. Like they have more talented guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like their defense is kind of salty, and we kind of knew that heading into this season. So, losing to the Raiders isn't a big shock. We know that Antonio Pierce had those guys, really playing for him in those later parts of the year, and really how he got him the job for the Raiders. So I wouldn't say I was like not surprised that the Ravens lost, right? But like the Ravens and Bengals now, they're 0-2, like in the very tough division. Like they're in a tough spot, Jeff. Like it might be tough for them to dig their way out, especially if they start 0-3. I don't think there's been very many 0-3 teams to make the playoffs.
No. I mean, as we know historically, Pittsburgh always finds a way to, stay above 500. So if the two best teams preseason-wise on paper, start the season out slow and have to dig their way back, and maybe they win 10, 11 games at most, I could see Pittsburgh pulling out 12 games, winning that division, and then them not making the playoffs because the FC is like so competitive.
It's insane. It really is the situation that the Chiefs have themselves in. They're in the driver's seat right now, and it would be interesting. Another question here from Hokey Chief. He asked us, what would the compensation be if a quarterback-starved team were to ask for Wentz? I think the question obviously being like the Dolphins, right? If they wanted Carson Wentz, what do you think it would take to get Carson Wentz away from the Chiefs, Jeff?
Carson Wentz right now, I would say, in my opinion, probably like a 3, especially with him being the backup quarterback and it being a desperate situation for Miami. I think they would probably reach, maybe they might even do a 2. I think Carson is still a good football player. Sometimes situationally things are in your best favor, or you might go to a mental slump, but I still think he's a good quarterback. So, I mean, we're lucky to have him.
Carson, I mean, I've said this on a few podcasts. Carson's the best backup quarterback they've had in Kansas City since Mahomes' time. Like,
without a doubt.
Talent-wise, like I was out there at training camp. He can still zip it a little bit. He's got some zip on, and he can really spin it still. So that's a huge asset for just the Chiefs to have.
Definitely, and especially being in this system. I mean, those years in Philly when he had his best years, he was under Doug in the same system, and being in the same system again with the guy who created it practically, it bodes well for you. I think I don't want him to get the opportunity, but if he did, I think he would do extremely well.
People have been talking about this last stretch of the season, where the Chiefs play all these games in a row. Maybe the Chiefs will have an opportunity where they've got stuff locked up, and Carson Wentz can get some reps in there. Yeah. That would be the ideal situation where we see Carson Wentz play.
Definitely,
that'd be the best case scenario. This one is from Isaac. He asked us, "What's the mindset / attitude in the locker room after a win like that? Like it's in the Bengals one, where it's like a walk-off field goal, where you don't necessarily play your best, but you still win."
I think you appreciate it. I mean, we play in the NFL. It's the toughest league, I think, in professional sports because of the way it's structured, the parity of it. You're set up to be a 500 team. You got to think about it. I mean, the worst teams get the best pick, all right? And then also, inadvertently, those teams also have a lot of cap space, so they do really well in free agency. So it's not set up for you to win. And then schedule-wise, you go versus ones. I mean, you play the best division opponent in each division in the NFC, and you're going to have tough games. It's not going to be a walk in the park, so you're going to have close ones. I think this one, like you could play a close game and play well. I think they're not the happiest about it because they know they didn't play well. It's not because it's a close game. I mean, you win close games, you play well, and you play good teams. But I think offensively, we know we have a lot of work to do there.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. It was one of those games, too, I think is very funny. I think I saw someone on Twitter tweet this. So, like, the Bengals and the Ravens both played those two games like playoff games. And it seemed like the Chiefs didn't really do a lot of creative things offensively. They broke out a couple plays here and there. It kept things kind of close to the vest. And it almost seemed like I know that they didn't, but like sometimes it seems like that they don't care all that much, right? To an outsider, and when you're just watching, you're just like, wow, these two teams really went in and tried to throw the kitchen sink at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. We'll play a C- game and still win it.
There's some truth to that. I don't think we ever go out there and not want to play well and give our best effort,
right?
But I think schematically, from a scheme standpoint, you're not drawing them up. And honestly, early in the season, I mean, when you're doing evals and scouting, teams watch you. They watch the last 3 games. So Andy Reid is a mastermind. He's scheming things up. He's showing things that he's going to set things up later. And he hasn't played any divisional opponents yet. He don't want to show them everything. It'll turn around. I'm not worried about it. What is concerning is the same thing as last year. It's just like the turnovers. Yeah. It's hard to win games when you turn the ball over. You don't want a turnover battle. Luckily, we've been able to do that, but you don't want to hang your head on that because it's statistically it's not what's going to happen all the time. You're eventually going to lose.
Right. Got to take care of the football. I'm really curious to your thoughts on this, Jeff. This is a question from me here. As we're just talking about like game planning and strategy like that. It always seems like randomly for Andy Reid, we get this NFC opponent that the offense just like explodes. Like it's been the Niners, it's been the Bucks. They've done it to a couple of times. Is that something that like when you're in the meeting rooms and Andy Reid's like, all right, we're going to pull out these plays this week. This is what we're planning to do. I wonder if it's something of just like, hey, you don't see these teams a whole lot, so we're just going to pull out a bunch of stuff that people have to scout.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't want to say you treat it like a preseason game, but it's one of those games where you're playing an unfamiliar opponent. You're not going to see them again, and the teams that you do play a lot are watching that game. So you want to pull out some things you don't typically do, so the team can game plan for it, and then you don't run it again. You just show it just so they can think about it and they can practice it. But I don't want to give away too many secrets, but that's I mean, every great offensive coordinator does this. I mean, it's not just Andy Reid. Yeah. I think it's chess, man. They do a great job. And there's a lot of things that are high level that even we don't know about completely as a team. I mean, the quarterbacks have a different relationship with the offensive coordinators and the head coach. So they get the bigger picture. But I understand enough and I know, what's going on.
Yeah, love to see it. We got a few O-line questions here. As we head into this Week 3 game against the Falcons. B. Higgs wants to know how long does it take / how hard is it to adjust technique as an O-lineman mid-season?
I wouldn't say I think you get better as the season goes on. So I wouldn't say it's a hard thing. I think it's one of the things that's a part of the progression. I mean, obviously we know, and when we've been talking about this forever. It's since the new CBA change, you don't practice as much now. It's better for the body. There's some sports science behind it, but also there's muscle memory involved. So when you're not blocking and tackling as much, there's going to be struggles early in the season because you haven't done it. So you're getting your feet underneath you. And as you see it around league-wide. I mean, offensive lines have struggled a little bit league-wide. Offenses have struggled. I have a theory behind that. I think there are a lot of younger quarterbacks. I think there are a lot of younger offensive linemen now. Yeah. I think the game has changed a little bit different defensively and whether they approach it. But I think as the year goes on, offenses will get better, offensive lines will get better, and that muscle memory comes back.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said about just the dip in, I guess, offensive production now. I think you're right. I think you're right on with just like the young quarterbacks and just the quarterback execution early on. I don't think is at a very high level. It just seems like the quarterback play as a whole is not at a high level.
Yeah. I think early in the season, you want to go out and do well. So mentally, you force a lot of things. You take it back 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago where we had Tyreek and every defense played us too high. Every single defense. Pat struggled with it because that wasn't in his nature. He didn't want to check down. He didn't want to take what the defense was giving him. He wanted to go deep. So it took him a few games to adjust, and then once he adjusted, you see what he's been doing since. So I think young quarterbacks are going to have to figure that out. I think You don't want to force things. Take what the defense is giving you. And I talked about it on X. I always call it Twitter, but I talked about it on X. Mel Kiper, which is a horrible take in my opinion, talked about defenses shouldn't be allowed to be in too high.
Right.
That should be illegal. Make the refs stand behind them and make them move up. I want to see the deep ball. That's horrible for football. Why take away something from the game that forces offenses to use their brain? Right? Like use your brain, and it's your responsibility to get them out of too high, which means run the ball effectively.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the shorter intermediate game, and just kill them there. And if you do that, they're gonna have to come out of too high, right? Or you could be like Patrick Mahomes and look the safety off enough and just use your arm talent and zing it through the hole and hit Rasheed Rice for a touchdown. But that's not going to happen all the time. So you gotta take what the defense is giving you. I mean, Tom Brady was the king of this. Yeah. He was the king of this. I mean, he didn't have a specific offense that he ran. He ran the offense that he needed to beat the defense.
Yeah.
Right? All great quarterbacks do it, and that's the way the game should be played.
I like it. I know. I love your take on that. Like, I thought it was funny with Mel Kiper's, like in the 80s, safeties were a lot lower. You know why they were a lot lower? Because people were running the damn ball. Right? Yeah. That's why people were lower. Now people don't run the ball as much. And look, I've talked about this before too. Like, football is so cyclical and just like how it works, right? Of just like and how things go. Like, we're gonna see a resurgence in running the football, I'm sure now with two highs, and then that'll get people out of two highs, and then the next Patrick Mahomes deep ball thrower is gonna come around, and we're gonna go back to it. So that's just how it goes. It ebbs and flows. But I do think that I love your take on that, on just the Mel Kiper situation. Awful take. I saw it. I was like, what are we doing, man? Like, what is going on? How do you even enforce that? Like,
man, you can. I mean, like, and. Baseball, you can't shift. You can't shift anymore. Like, so, I mean, that's crazy too. I mean, but who knows? But honestly, I think I think he just wants to see more points, which we all do. I mean, he's excited for the game. But as a football guy, what's even more exciting is me understanding the game and watching it and looking at the chess match and saying, okay, this is what they're running. This is what we have to do to combat that. And let's execute. And I'm really excited as the offensive line. This is going to run a damn ball, like we're going to run the ball, and I'm really excited, man. I know we lost Pacheco, which is a huge blow, but we got some capable guys. I think Kareem Hunt, not Kareem Hunt, Kareem Hunt. That's what they're calling him. That's what they're calling him. That's what they're calling Carson on Twitter, man. He runs extremely hard. He has great vision. He always seems to fall forward. And then you actually have Kareem Hunt in the backfield now. We all know what he can do. Even last year in Cleveland, he was very effective. And I think he still has something in him. So I'm excited to see what this offense can be running the ball. I'm excited to see Rasheed Rice and Travis Kelce kill him underneath. And eventually we're going to get those deep balls to Worthy as the season progresses.
Rasheed Rice, man, he looks good.
He's a number one.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Rasheed Rice this season. Very high on just kind of how they're using him too. Like they are using him like over the field. Like he's all over. Yeah, like and the way that he was catching deep balls too. It's just like wow. Like he really can do it all. And I think that's been really impressive. But all right, Jeff, we got more offensive line questions, especially about Juwan Taylor, the tackle situation going on with Kingsley Suamataia. And also Wanya Morris. Want to get your thoughts on that, but we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone in any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts with you. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSN21. That's mintmobile.com/KCSN21. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSN21. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Fellas, it's the best time of year. Football is back, and we're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where you can take your inner GM and bring it to life by setting that perfect fantasy roster, screaming at the TV, and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone makes fun of in the group chat. But listen, while you're over here making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. And let's be honest, fellas, nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine. That's where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp below the waist with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, to taking care of those rogue nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0. Join the over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com. Use the code KCSports for 20% off plus free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code KCSports at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code KCSports at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way. We saw on Sunday, Kingsley Suamataia gets benched in the fourth quarter. I thought that was kind of interesting. Not something that you typically see Andy Reid do. And Steve Gray asked, what is Jeff's best guess on the reasoning behind Andy's approach to Kingsley thus far?
I think he had to make a decision last game. Yeah. Kingsley struggled pretty much the entire game in pass protection, and that was a tough matchup. I think his biggest issue right now is getting comfortable and finding that spot as a tackle, right? That's getting out of your stands, getting to a good relationship with the tackle, with the defensive end and the tackle, being in between your guy. Right now, he's short. So a lot of time that guy has been in the corner. He might not be just blowing by him, but he's getting enough of an edge to where he's pressing the pocket and he's squeezing Patrick down inside. Yeah. And sometimes he makes, he gets a hit or he gets a hurry or maybe he gets the sack. And it's just because he was set. Has nothing to do with his talent, has nothing to do with him not being able to do it. I know Andy Heckers right now, he's doing everything he can. He's drilling them. He's going to figure it out. He's a rookie. The game is a lot different. And these defensive ends aren't like college defensive ends. Not only they're better physically, but mentally they play games with you. So you have to understand that. You have to have a game plan. You just have to go into the game. It's like a boxing match. You change things up too. If you're constantly giving that guy the same thing, he's going to kill you. He's doing the same thing over and over and over. He's got to mix it up with some jump sets. He has to get vertical. He has to, do some normal sets. Mix it up. You can't do the same thing over and over or else you're not going to have a chance. And then on the opposite side, Jawan, his biggest thing has always been, and it's a part of him jumping the snap, is he oversets. Yeah. So he kind of gets a lot of depth. He gets up out of there, and then it exposes the underneath moves. So they both kind of got to find that spot and help Patrick, hold on to the ball a little bit longer. Maybe let some routes progress downfield, and you can make some of those bigger plays. And it just puts more pressure on the interior. They're great. They're making a lot of money. Besides Trey, he's going to get paid one day too. And they're just going to have to do their job at the highest level. So Patrick can step up, and those tackles just need to stay, in good relationship with those defensive ends and run them by. Right. So Pat can step up and make some plays.
I do think that's really interesting too when you talk about Jawan Taylor. I think Jawan Taylor's played pretty well this season.
No, yeah, he has.
And I think a lot of that has to do with not being in a mental hell from the officials trying to throw a flag. He's like, "Am I lined up right? What am what am I doing? Like, I really do think that first game last year kind of messed with him all season long. He did get better in the playoffs. Like, he was a lot better in the playoffs, the Super Bowl too. But like, I can't imagine just like the mental hell again that you go through, just like lining up. Like, I've been doing this all the time, and now all of a sudden this is wrong. It can't be easy. It's
definitely mental hell, and I know that they've placed a huge emphasis on tackles lining up on the ball.
Yeah.
But I think they got that wrong, right? It's a relation with the guy next to you, not just the center.
Right.
So the guard gets back a little bit, then I'm lined up off the guard. Naturally, I'm going to be a little bit off the ball, and that's just how it has always been.
Right.
If you want me to be, a yard closer to the ball, it's going to be damn near impossible to block that guy. Yeah. It's not cheating. It's just structurally how lines line up. It's just how the game has always been played. This is what Mel Kiper wanted for offensive linemen, I guess. I don't know, man, but this is absolutely horrible. As far as like jumping the snap, there's some guys in the league that do a pretty good job. Jawan's one of them. Mm-hmm. He's had a couple where there were actual false starts, but he's literally moving at the exact time in the ball. He's not jumping. Yeah. He's not jumping off sides. And refs sometimes they can't see that, but like when you slow it down, like the moment that ball's moving, he's moving. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he's moving before the offensive lineman. Yes, he is. But he's moving when the ball is moving. So we have to take account for that.
It is quite impressive what he can do.
Very
in timing the snap and everything like that. I've been impressed with his play so far. Even going back to Kingsley, did you find it interesting that they just kind of didn't really seem like there was any competition, at least publicly, for that like left tackle spot, that they put him at the one spot and they just kind of rolled with him? Were you surprised by that at all?
No, I wasn't surprised by it because I think they saw enough in training camp. And anytime you got a guy that you have some beliefs in and you think can be that cornerstone, you go ahead and ride with them. They did the same with Creed and Trey.
That's true.
It wasn't really a competition. I mean, they talked about it a little bit during OTAs, what we're going to do. We got these rookie guys, and we got in the training camp, and they saw them. They're like, you know what? These are the guys. There wasn't any competition talk after that. So I think think Kingsley is better than Wanye. Definitely has a higher ceiling right now. I think Wanye is a good player. I think he's very serviceable. I think he can do the job, but they're thinking about the future. They're not just thinking about right now, and that's how the NFL works. And last game, he had some struggles, so they had to make that change. But I don't think this is a season thing. I don't think they're going to bench him for the season. They just want them to sit down for a little bit, take a breather, relax, and then next game we're going to get this fixed.
I think so too. I mean, look, he hasn't had like the easiest of people to go against.
No,
either.
No.
Like, he's had some tough matchups.
Well, the thing about the NFL is, I mean, every matchup is like that. I mean, these have been some of the best guys, but like these guys are, especially these edge rushers now. This is what they want to do. They want to rush the quarterback. Everyone wants to get paid, and they're going after sacks.
Yeah.
So he has to know that. He has to change things up, and he has to take advantage in the run game. He's a very physical guy. You got to, when we get those opportunities to run the ball, you got to take advantage of that. You got to physically impose your will. And then also when there are opportunities to jump set or play action, you go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do it and play mind games with them. I mean, my rookie year, I struggled like the first 5 or 6 games. And it wasn't like anything that was like every play was horrible. No, it was like 4 or 5 plays every game where it was like, damn, I wish I could have those back. And it's the same thing that's going on with them. He just has to make the adjustment, and then he has to get out of his head. I know for a fact he's ultra competitive. We all have always been the best at what we did, and for the first time for many, you're facing adversity. Right? How are you gonna get out of that slump? So mentally, you have to be strong enough to realize that I'm still that guy. I'm still a very good football player, and don't tank. All right. So I'm pretty sure those veteran guys are in there in his ear, like, hey, look, don't worry about it. Give yourself, some grace. You got to get through this as a part of the process. And in his head, and I know when I was in that position, I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like in my mind, like, this is fucking horrible. I suck. Like all these negative thoughts. But he really has to give himself grace. That's a young mentality. You have to understand you're going to get beat in this league. Yeah. They get paid too. You're not going to win every rep. This is not BYU. Right? This is the National Football League. You're going to lose some reps, but don't let it pile on. Right? Just continue to push forward, learn from those mistakes, and you'll be better for it.
I think that's some great insight there, especially with this offensive line too that is trying to, they are paying some guys right on this offensive side of the ball, just paying Creed, and Trey's going to get paid, right? Like that's going to happen. You're paying Jawan Taylor on the right side, so like you're gonna have a rookie or a guy on a rookie contract play. Like that's just how the math works out. And I was really impressed with Kingsley post game in the locker room, how he's like took accountability for his actions and everything like that. Just like, I got to be better. I've been very impressed with just kind of his attitude in terms of just like what it takes for him, his response to these things that are going on. I can't imagine it's easy going all of a sudden from BYU to the NFL to the defending champions on the Chiefs as left tackle. But I do think that you made some really good point. I love your point of view there about just looking forward for the future in that young mindset. I think that it's one of those things where it's just going to be time. And like, look, it's the second game. It's the second game. I'm not hitting the panic button either. Your second game in the NFL, it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows.
No, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. And like I said, it's not the entire game. It's literally like 5-6 plays. Yeah. And they're very fixable things. He's not getting like just torched out there. I know people are like, man, no, it's like literally like if you just set 4 inches more with depth, you're going to be in the perfect position. If you just use your inside hand here and ride the guy by, you'll be totally fine. It's just little things. It's not. Now, if he was out there just getting smoked, I would tell you, I'm like, look, man, this guy, he ain't the guy. Like he's getting Olayed, Asher just running for his life. No, it's like he's putting himself in a bad position. He's dying a slow death. And he has plenty of talent to get this done. He's going to get it done. And I saw his post-game interview or practice, whatever it was, and he talked about it. And I love the mindset, but like I encourage him to, give himself a little bit of grace, but also keep that same chicken mindset at the same time. There's a unique balance of being competitive and being realistic. Right? You want to be competitive, but you don't want that to be a fault. Right? You have to be realistic and look and say, okay, this is what I have to get better at, and this is what I need to do. And don't put a ton of pressure on yourself, but get it done.
Yeah. You mentioned the running game. He is very physical in the run blocking game. Like I like to watch him out there in space, especially on like those outside runs and even screen passes when they put him out in space. How much as an offensive lineman does that like build your confidence if you can get some momentum going downhill, going and hitting somebody?
It builds a lot of confidence. And Andy Reid, I talk about this all the time. He is an offensive line guy. Yeah. Right? When you look at those first 15 plays, it's a very O-line friendly 15. He's trying to get us lathered up. He's trying to get us into the groove of the game. It's like almost like it's like a quarterback or even like a great shooter. You want to let him get some easy buckets or some easy throws. Yeah. You want to get us some easy blocks so we can fill it. And then, boom, he says it all the time. Now we're ready to go. And it gives you confidence. You block that guy a few times, you can do it.
Yeah, I think that's really evident in kind of how it all goes. And Casey from KC, and another question he asked here on the O-line, what elite qualities can the O-line achieve this season? I do think this is a unit that it might be one of the best in the National Football League when they're playing to their potential. I mentioned this on one of the shows I was on. I believe it was that football show. The top 3 Chiefs' highest-graded offensive players, according to PFF, Jeff, were Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, and Trey Smith. Those are your 3 highest-graded players, and you have elite interior offensive line. I think that there's a possibility for Jawan Taylor to, as we have mentioned, have a real huge bounce-back season. So, I think that the sky's the limit for this offensive line. I think they can. If there was a Joe Moore award for the offensive lineman in the NFL, maybe they need to come up with an offensive line award, like an offensive line of the year award. Yeah. to give out? Because I think that would be a good award to have. Like they
do.
In the run.
They do, because I mean we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing. I mean, I don't think we've ever been in the MVP or offensive player race. So we need some type of recognition. The only recognition that we get is offsides, holding, false start, whatever. Like, it's just all negative things. So like, give us something good and something to work toward. I think this O-line has the potential to be great. They are great. It doesn't have the potential to be great. They are great. They've been playing awesome. I think, we've had the hiccups with the rookie. But outside of that, I mean, they've done a great job of protecting Pat. We've run the ball as well as I've seen the start of season in a while. So, I mean, like, I don't know what the strength of this offense is yet. I mean, it's too early in the season, but right now it looks like, running the ball. Running the ball in between the tackle. I mean, they're getting 4 or 5 yards a clip. And as the game goes on, I mean, you wear that defense down. Some of those things are going to spring. So I would like to see us run the ball a little bit more. I say that all the time. We still win Super Bowls, but I still would like to see it.
I'm right there with you, man. I love running the football. They're running it pretty effectively so far this season. Don't want to see it slip away, truthfully. A few more questions here as we get winded down here on Play On Questions. Kay Gumminger wants to know, as an offensive lineman, you played nearly every snap in the trenches. What does a week after look like trying to recover to prepare your body for the next week's game?
I mean, the best way to describe it is picture getting in a huge, car wreck, 80 of them. And waking up the next day and hurting, but also not feeling anything. Like it's so painful that you're numb. And then by Tuesday, that pain starts to set in and you're getting all types of rehab. You're trying to recover, but you still got to practice. Yeah. So you're still like absolutely dog crap. And so probably, I mean, if you're young, maybe you get bounced back by Wednesday. As you get older, you ain't bouncing back until Friday. like you're gonna feel it till Friday. So it takes a lot of commitment. You have to be putting the right things in your body. You have to put in the hours in PT. I mean, a lot of young guys. When I was one of those guys. See, early in my career, it didn't hurt as much. You were able to recover faster. You didn't have to do as much. You could kind of eat what you wanted to eat. But as you get older, if you want to stick around this league, you're going to have to eat the right things. You're going to have to put in that extra time. So that means coming in early to get PT and staying after, and then also going home. And if you're just sitting there watching TV with your kids, you're relaxing playing video games, you got on recovery beats, Nortex. You got the game ready on, icing down. You're doing everything that you can do to stay fresh. Shout out to Travis Kelce. I know how you feel, buddy. Like he has done everything in his power to stay at the top of the game. And you can see it, man. This guy works extremely hard, eats the right things, says the right things, does the right things, treats his body like it's business because it is. And that's why he's been the best at his job for so long. But I know it hurts right now. Like I know, but it's awesome to see, man. It's a testament to the commitment and being a true pro.
Yeah, it really is. And like he's not even. He has, I think he's had 6 catches, but like defenses are really keying in on him this year.
Yeah, but like there's a huge overreaction on it. One,
I agree. Yeah,
first 2 games last year was the same deal.
Yeah.
2, you talked about it. Defenses have been keying in on him, which they're going to continue to do because his name is still in the back of his jersey. Right. And people have been talking about he's slowing down. Travis is an athlete for sure. He's very athletic. Obviously, being one of the all-time tight ends is receiving. But his game isn't necessarily his number one characteristic, and the best part of his game isn't his athleticism. That's not what gets Travis open. Like, Travis gets open because he's smart. Right? Yeah. He understands the game. He has a great feel, and he thinks like a quarterback, and him and Patrick have this great connection. Mm-hmm. That doesn't take the greatest athleticism. So if Travis wants to continue to play for I don't know how long. I think Travis will always be good, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's going to get to Antonio Gates years. You know,
man, it's like fine wine, man. Yeah. Get better with time, man. He's going to be out there limping around, still getting 100 yards receiving. He's that type of guy.
Yeah, he really is. Jeff, last question for you here. Look, you're the cookie expert. We couldn't let you go without asking you a cookie question here. Cookie Society. Tag the Tiger wants to know what your most underrated cookie is.
Most underrated cookie?
Mm-hmm.
Oatmeal raisin.
I agree. Oatmeal raisin is my favorite kind of cookie.
Oatmeal raisin is the most underrated cookie because it's like one of those things either you love or you hate it, but I don't understand how you hate it. Like it's a perfect cookie. Like it's amazing, especially ours. So I think it doesn't get the love that it deserves. Oatmeal raisin cookies remind me of offensive linemen. Either you love them or you hate them. They don't ever get the love they deserve. That's a bar.
That is. I'll clip that. I'll make sure that gets out there on social. But looking at your guys' menu at cookiesociety.com, you guys got the chocolate cupcake available for shipping. Oh gosh, looking at these looking at these cookies, man. I was we went to the store, I believe, earlier this year. I was at the Cookie Society store. We went in there, got some cookies there, and golly, the hardest decision I made was how many I was going to get, because there were so many of them. I was like, golly, I just can't decide how many of them, but yeah, love what you guys do. Love what everything got going on with Cookie Society.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of 21 Questions. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate Braden's Hope, Mint Mobile, for sponsoring the podcast. That's going to do it for us. Look, we'll have the KCSN postgame show going on right after the final whistle. We will be breaking down everything that happened in the Chiefs Sunday Night Football game against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll be back. More 5 Things coming out on Saturday, so you can check that out there. For Jeff Allen, I'm Tucker Franklin. Thank you for listening to 21 Questions. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.